Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Not Aspirational. I'm your host, Hannah Erin Brown. Welcome back. What the fuck? My computer has been quiet as a mouse all day long. And the second I start to record, it goes, like I have a fucking email or something that I don't care about. Okay. So I am going to just let y'all in on something because this podcast is called Not Aspirational after all. I'm not claiming to be like the best, most professional, most crisp, most clean podcaster out there. I'm here to be real, in the words of Katie Maloney. I am feeling low energy today. I'm just feeling low in general. Not only am I feeling very tired, I'm feeling not in the mood. One might say resistant to the creative process. I'm feeling so resistant to the creative process lately. Literally anything. Like I can't focus on anything. And my Substack has been like kind of flop town lately. And I'm really not trying to be like self-deprecating. Like I don't need anyone to be like, don't doubt yourself, believe in yourself. You're really great. Girls Inc. inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. I don't need any of that. Do you guys remember that commercial? I don't need that. But I will say I'm just coming into this week like feeling kind of weird. I am on my period, so I should let you know that. But last week was a fiery hellscape. Last week was a fiery hellscape. And it's one of those things where I think I was in like fight or flight for a lot of it. And now that I'm on the other side, I think I'm just like, whoa, like I feel like I was like shit out. And so I'm kind of like just exhausted. But some of it's a funny story. So first of all, last week I was almost scammed on the internet. And when I look back, like, do you ever look back on something you did, whether it was in like first grade or like last week, and you're like, actually, what the fuck was I thinking? Like one time in first grade, I missed the Pledge of Allegiance because I was taking a shit. And I like went back into my first grade classroom and I was like, hey guys, sorry, I missed the Pledge of Allegiance. I was taking a shit. And I look back on that. I still think about it. And I'm like, what the fuck were you thinking, Hannah? Like, I know you were 6, but like, why did you do that? Like, I'm still haunted by my 6-year-old self's behavior. So this is what happened last week is going to be one of those taking a shit during the Pledge of Allegiance sorts of things. I can already feel it. So honestly, I don't really know why I'm publicly talking about it, but I think it's one of those things where like, I've said this before, when you take the skeletons out of your closet, like they don't haunt you as much. So like I feel so much deep shame about almost being scammed on the internet that I have to make comedy out of it because I like literally have no choice. So last week I get this email and I wake up at like 5 a.m, like definitely Monday through Thursday, sometimes Monday through Friday, ideally, to have my little like morning routine before my workday starts at 7, where I like do my little workout video and I do my makeup and I get ready. And I get this email first thing in the morning and it's from a clothing brand. And it's like, hello, we're trying to collaborate with influencers for this upcoming photo shoot. And we think you would be a good fit. Here's the rate. Here's, what's going on. Let me know what you think. And I'm like, great. Yes. And I'm taking on a lot of extra work right now. I mean, because why the fuck is my Slack going off right now? No one has Slacked me all day long. And the second I go to record my goddamn show, it's like, I don't give a fuck. Okay. I'm like HRH collection this week. I'm like, so stupid. Okay. So I hear from this clothing brand and I'm like, fuck yeah, because I'm trying to pick up extra work right now for a multitude of reasons. But in general, just because I never really think you could have enough money. And we're going into hot girl summer and like, I like money. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's fucking go. Let's do this. So I'm like, totally. What do you need from me? Here's my measurements. Here's my sizes, blah, blah, blah. And I am naive. Like I am an idiot. Like sometimes sometimes I'm shocked that I am not dead already, because like my parents had to tell me as a kid like a million times. They would be like, if someone comes up to you and says like, I have puppies in my van, like do not go to the van, like you will be abducted. So like I am an idiot and I just think I should get ahead of that. But I'm like emailing with this like floppy air quote clothing brand. And I look up the guy whose email signature it is. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he works for the brand. But I'm starting to get like some emails back where I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Why do you need to know this government-esque question? Like, why do you need the answers to this? And why is the photo shoot conveniently like so close to my house? And why did I give you my address? So I'm like waking Jake up at 5 a.m. the next day. And I'm like, we're going to die. We're going to die. I was just scammed. I willingly gave out my address. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, because then upon further inspection of the initial reach out email, there was like obvious red flags, like obvious grammatical errors where I'm like, Hannah, like, are you okay? Why would, and this is the second time, okay, like a few months ago, Unwell Network reached out to me and they were like, Avery Woods wants you to do her podcast, and didn't read the fine print. And they were like, Avery's going to be in Nashville. And they were talking about the other Hannah Brown. So like, this is the second time in a short, embarrassing, humiliatingly even short period of time where like I got excited, didn't read the fine print in an email, and then got fucked in the end. So I was spiraling to Jake. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, someone is going to show up and kill us. Like I just doxed us. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And Jake's like, block them. You didn't like give them any banking info. Like you didn't give them any of like the most important info for them to like fully steal your identity. But like this is giving scammer. And then when I like actually researched the guy whose email signature it was like he worked for this brand like 15 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, how could I be so stupid? So I almost got scammed. And there really is like no feeling quite as powerless as knowing that you were scammed and knowing that like you were dumb enough to get scammed and there's like quite literally nothing you could do about it. So all I did was like blocked the email address. I was like, okay, I'm not giving them any more information. They no longer have access to me. But like I wanted to call my bank and like flag it and be like, look, I didn't give them any personal information, but if you see anything sus on my bank account, like please let me know. Also, joke's on them, because like I am very broke right now and the joke is on you. One time when I lived in Chicago, someone pickpocketed me and they kept trying to buy shit at like a Macy's. Like they were going to like different counters in the Macy's, but like I was so broke that they just kept getting declined with my debit card. And I'm like, you know what? And that's on appearing rich, but actually not being rich. You know what I mean? And I kind of take some pride in that. And that was during like my real scrappy Chicago days. Like I like love that I presented as someone that had a lot of money in my bank account when like I didn't have like $5 to scrape together. Anyways, I called my banks to be like, hey, keep an eye out, stay vigilant. I'm a dumbass. That's not what we're talking about. Please just stay vigilant. Want to give you a heads up as the person who owns this bank account. And they, you know, when you try to call a bank, you're talking to like 50 robots before a person. It's like, hi, I'm a robot with Chase Bank. I could probably help you. And I'm like, you actually can't help me because you're a robot. And so I'm like trying to get through to this robot. And they're like, let me ask you a few questions first. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Whenever I talk to an AI robot in customer service, they talk in the voice and the tone of a man in my college theater department who would like pretend to be nice, like a fuckboy in a college theater department. It's always like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Could you repeat yourself? And I'm like, bitch, no, I can't repeat myself. I'm freaking out about getting scammed and it's my own fucking fault. And every second that I am stuck on the phone with you, you fucking Chase Bank robot, I have to feel this shame of being a moron who almost got scammed by a email that was riddled with typos. For every second longer this call lasts, the shame just gets worse and worse. And I get more and more fired up. Okay. So I'm talking to this robot and I'm like, finally I go, speak to a fucking human. And he's like, okay, I'll transfer you. And I'm like, thank fucking God. So I get on the phone and I'm talking to a human at Chase. Praise the Lord. Okay. And she's like, hi, how can I help you? Or no, it's always, hi, and who am I speaking with today? I'm like, Hannah. And I'm trying not to take out my robot rage on this poor Chase customer service woman, because I am very much a firm believer in do not take your own shit out on customer service people. It is not fucking cool. So I'm like, Hannah Brown, thank you. And I basically tried to explain the situation to her, but I'm so flustered that I'm sure I explained it terribly. I'm sure it was like a word salad. And she's like, okay, well, I'm looking at your bank account right now and there's like no suspicious activity and like we will flag it if there is. And I was like, okay, so like I don't need to do anything else? And she was like, no, you're good. Is there anything else I can help you with? I'm like, no, thanks, bye. So that's like resolved. So luckily nothing else happened with that. But any sort of admin will send me into a full-blown spiral. Like I don't want to, if I have to call a customer service line, like prayers for everyone involved, truly. And last week was just a lot of admin. So like first I think I'm getting scammed. Then I'm also in the process of getting new doctors out here in LA because my doctor situation's always been kind of TBD, like because my insurance has always like shifted. So I've never really had like a stable group of doctors out here. So like I'm in my 30s. My mom died at 56. The older I get, the more existential dread I feel. And I just really wanted to have like a solid group of doctors to go to. But I realized that my insurance kind of sucks and my deductible is egregious. So that was stressful. So I'm like going to all these doctor's appointments, paying like too much out of pocket, very, very stressful. And then they're like, oh, we actually have to refer you to this specialist and blah, 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 blah. I'm spiraling about dying. It's whatever. I'm fine, by the way. I'm fine. But, you know, being a woman is scary. And sometimes like, you know, you get like a pap smear and you get a little spooked about stuff, you know, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so that was stressful just between like admin, phone calls, doctors, banking, money in general, all very stressful. And then I made the grave mistake of trying to make like the slightest boundary with someone in my life. And it was a dumpster fire. It blew up in my face like Mondo. And you know, I'm a recovering people pleaser who still very much struggles with it. And like, I know that everyone thinks Mel Robbins is a cult leader, but I really do wish I could internalize the like, let them think you're a fucking asshole. Let them think you're a loser. I wish I could internalize let them, but I can't quite yet. I really struggle with it. And I get to a place of let them, but it takes me months of spiraling and talking about the issue at hand to every single person in my life that I love, know, and trust to get to a place of let them. I don't just like start at a place of let them. So I think that joke's getting annoying. I'm going to stop that bit now. But I like realized something about myself last week, which was I grew up in a deeply chaotic household where I was like the mediator and I didn't really feel like I had space to make a boundary without being like gaslit into thinking I was like difficult or bratty or like an asshole. So now that I have built a very stable, peaceful life for myself, thanks to lots of hard work and self-reflection and therapy, and I will take credit for that, I get a little triggered, a little peeved when I feel that I'm trying to make boundaries and time again, something or someone tries to push back and push through my boundaries, and it's just never enough. Like I'm never doing enough. And if I try to take space, then somehow I'm being mean. So having to deal with that on top of already feeling like I was in this heightened state and having a lot of things come up for me personally and having a lot of other messes to clean up that I didn't feel like were really mine to deal with was pretty challenging. But there were some lights in the darkness. I was going to say there was some lights in the darkness, but I'm not sure that this qualifies as one of them. So I went to Jax's for the Valley premiere. I did turn up on a Tuesday and Jax Taylor was there. And when I tell you this man, he looks like Reptar, first of all, in person. Like something about Jax is giving Reptar. And honestly, that's kind of rude to Reptar because like who among us like didn't love Rugrats growing up? But honestly, I think of the Reptar ice skating episode when they're like, Reptar, gotta find that Reptar. And it's like the guy who's playing Reptar on ice is like an asshole. Reptar, the guy in the Reptar suit is like a dick. Jax was giving guy in the Reptar suit, okay, in that niche episode of Rugrats, which I will put on my Instagram, note to self. I probably won't remember just for context, but Jax was there. And the show has started. And one of my friends is like, I dare you to get a selfie with Jax. And I'm like, well, I never turned down a dare. Like, come on. I mean, I was dared. I was a 33-year-old woman who was dared. So I took the dare. And he had just taken a selfie with another fan. So I go up and I go, excuse me, can I get a selfie? And he just like doesn't respond. And I'm like, excuse me, can I get a selfie? Nothing. And at this point, I'm like, oh man, Jackson boy, it's hard of hearing. I really thought that he just like couldn't hear me. So I was like, excuse me. And he goes, I'm just trying to watch the show. Exasperated, annoyed with me. And I'm thinking, Reptar on Ice, let me stop you right fucking there. You're going to have a viewing party at your bar on the night that your show premieres, and you're going to get mad at me, a fan, and that's being very generous. I'm kind to even be at this bar watching your show. You're going to make me feel like shit for asking for a photo with you. And by the way, you got a screener. Like, you've already seen the fucking episode. And you lived it, man. Like, you know that you threw a coffee table at your ex-wife. Like, you know. So I'm not really sure why you like need to watch it again, or really why you would want to. So I walk away, and we had befriended the table next to us, and everyone's like, how'd it go? How did it go? And I was like, no, he was rude. Like, he was rude. And I just didn't realize how loud I was, which is my cross to bear in this lifetime. So like 2 seconds later, he like comes over, he like shuffles over, and he's like, and I'm sorry. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I wasn't trying to be rude. I wasn't trying to be rude. And I'm like, oh my God, no worries, Jax. You are having a rough night. You are having a rough night. Totally get it. I did that thing where I was like smiling but mean. Not on purpose. That's just sort of what came out. So that was fun. So I have like a really uncomfortable photo with Jax. And then I did see my husband, Jesse Lally. He was looking fine as ever, an angel on earth, a sweetie. And I was like, oh my God, Jesse Lally from the Valley. And every time I see him, we have a lovely conversation. I always have to remind him who I am, but he's nice every time. And I love that for me. And I was like, Jesse Lally, you know that I like fight for you in the comments. Like, I'm really cool. And he was like, oh my God, yeah, haha. Like, he indulges me. And I don't know if any of what I just said was a flex, but I have to be honest with you. Again, this is called Not Aspirational for a reason. And then my friend and I talked to Schwartz, and he was a hoot. I will say, like, out of everyone, like, Schwartz was being, do you remember the part in Hercules when he like dives into like the river of dead people to get Meg back, and all the ghosts are like, ugh, and they're like dragging him down. They're like dragging his body down, and Hercules is like trying to get to Meg. I don't know who the Meg was in the scenario, but I will say Schwartz was being dragged down by Bravo fans. It was like people grabbing his arm and like everyone wanted a photo with him. And I think it's because Schwartz just gives like such open, like puppy dog energy where it's like he isn't going to tell anyone no. So I was exhausted watching that man interact with people. And I was just thinking to myself, like, if Jax had half a brain cell left, he would have been fun about it and would have like brought out some shots, gone table to table. Thank you so much for being here. Like, I hope you enjoy the season. Also, full well knowing that like he looked like a piece of shit during the episode. Like, wouldn't you want to actively like fight against that in your own bar? Your name is on the fucking sign. But no, Schwartz was doing all the hospitality work for Jax, and it was a crazy night. It was a crazy night. And I'm so happy the Valley is back. And I know I said that last week, but I'm thrilled that it has returned. Another, a true light in the darkness was I had a true girls' night out over the weekend, and it started as like a boozy lunch at 1 p.m. And then before we knew it, it was 1 a.m. and we were like, we have to go home. And it was just one of those days where like everyone was on the same wavelength. We were all down to clown. We just booped around West Hollywood. It was so fucking fun. It was a reset. Did I have anxiety on Sunday? I absolutely did, because there were parts of the night where I was like, that's a little fuzzy. That's a little fuzzy. But you know what? No regrets. Everyone was fine. Everything was fine. Everything was fun. And I think maybe that, coupled with like how fucking insane in a negative way like last week was, is probably why I'm feeling a bit like grizzled and weathered this week. But no regrets. But I'm going into this week just feeling really exhausted, really tired, really out of it. And like just kind of depleted. Like I don't have as much to give or say. And I feel so bad because like I want to give you guys the old razzle dazzle every time I do an episode, but I'm just feeling like, and I'm feeling behind. I'm feeling so behind career wise. And I want to let y'all know that anytime you message me and you're like, I listen to the show, I love it, thank you so much. I know I always say like, thank you, that means the world to me, but I'm serious when I say it means the world to me. One of the reasons I'm feeling down and behind is because along with podcasting, stand-up, and content creation, I moved to LA to be an actor and a writer as well. And I spent months like refreshing my materials, like getting new headshots and putting together new footage, and like all of that like costs money, so it takes time. And I've been submitting to like managers and stuff, and I either don't get a response or I get a rejection. And like that is so par for the course with this. And I'm not trying to sound like Michaela Noguera being like, try being an influencer for a day. Like I know that this is what I signed up for, but sometimes y'all, like it feels like I'm spinning all these plates and like, for what? And so then, but then like anytime I feel that way, I'll hear from one of you and it like totally flips my perspective, where it's just like, no, like this is why. Like I want to connect with people. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people feel seen. So thank you so much. And for your sweet reviews. That means the world to me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. So when I was thinking about what I wanted today's episode to be about, I thought about just like a few practical tips that I've gathered throughout the years that I wanted to share to sort of force myself out of this space of like, like I don't know anything and what am I doing and bull, and also hopefully impart some wisdom. So let's get into it. Practical tips that helped me in work. This might take 2 seconds to go through, or I might elaborate. We'll see. First tip is fake it till you make it. So this is actually one that I picked up on pretty recently. A handful of months ago, I had a meeting with a manager, and he was like, and I was super excited because he was with like a really good management company. And he was like, are you taking other meetings? And I was like, this is the only one. And he was like, okay. And we had what I thought was a good meeting. Although in my gut, I was like, I don't think this is my guy. But because like I put him on a pedestal of like, he works at this fancy management company and he's showing interest. It's literally like dating. I was like hounding this guy, being like, hey, oh my God, like I just got back from my honeymoon. Like, let's meet up again, blah, blah, blah. Cause this was all like right before my wedding. And he's like, normally I wouldn't take on a client who like isn't going to be available for 2 weeks, but like hit me up when you're back from your honeymoon, which is, by the way, crazy work. Like, I'm not going to apologize for not wanting to film an audition during my honeymoon. Give me a break. But he ultimately ghosted me after I sent him my rom-com script too, which I don't love. But all this to say, I wish that during that meeting, I was just like, yeah, I'm taking other meetings. Cause like, who the fuck cares? Like that is not information that is going to, like, it's not an important enough lie that it's like going to fuck me over in some way. It just is going to change this guy's perception of me. And unfortunately, perception in the workplace often has more to do with like actual skill or like performance, which is a bummer and it's unfair. But if you know that you have the skill and the work ethic to do the job and you got to like fake it a little bit to get in the door, fucking do it. Because guess what? Everybody has and everybody is and everyone will do it at one time or another. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. If you have the work ethic and the skill, don't feel bad about telling a little white lie that just gives you a little zhuzh. You know what I mean? Another thing, copy other people. And I don't mean like rip people off. I don't mean plagiarize. God knows I've been accused of that enough just for like existing in the podcast space. But I'm talking about like, if you don't know how to do something, there is something called YouTube University, TikTok University, and just observe people. Like, remember when you were like taking tests in school and teachers would always be like, look at context clues, like consider the context clues. And sometimes you'd be taking a test and you'd be so panicked about like doing well in the test that you would miss like an obvious context clue, and you would go back and be like, if I just like slowed down and paid a little more attention, I could have, I knew the answer to that question. It's like when I was, for instance, when I was making my YouTube channel for this podcast, I was like, I don't fucking know what a YouTube cover image should look like. So I just like looked at other YouTube channels that I thought were cool and I was like, oh, that's how they do their cover image. Okay, that's good inspo. I'm going to do mine this way. So it's not about ripping people off. It's not about stealing ideas, but it is about being like, I'm going to look at this person who I think is doing this really well and glean whatever knowledge I can just by observing them, whether it's observing someone in person, whether it's observing something they do online, looking at marketing materials and being like, oh, I like how they marketed this thing. This is how I could market my thing. That is just called being a smart person. And it's all about context clues. So copy other people. Don't feel bad about it. Copy people within reason. Don't rip them off. But you can teach it. You can teach yourself a lot if you're willing to be humble enough to just look at how other people that you admire are doing things and like pick up what you can, soak up what you can, teach yourself what you can, and then apply it to whatever you're doing. Now, caveat, don't absorb too much content in your field or from people who trigger you for whatever reason. So like, as a performer and entertainer, in the words of Countess Luann, it is very easy for me to get on Instagram and look at people who are like crushing it in my field. Even people who make content that like as a girly pop, I would love to consume. But if me consuming that content is going to fuck with my head and force me to like put my eye on their paper instead of mine, lots of school analogies today, then it's not worth it. Like you need to stay in your lane. You need to stay the course. You need to focus on what you're doing because what this person's doing over here is irrelevant. Like it doesn't matter. And someone else succeeding doesn't mean that you can't. So creating boundaries around the kind of content you consume, even when you're like not quote on the clock or outside of work, is important to keeping like a clear, healthy mindset around the work you are doing and kind of valuing what you bring to the table. Because you can look all day long at someone else in your field who is absolutely crushing it, but at the end of the day, they're themselves and you are yourself and you bring something that they don't have and they might bring something that you don't have. So it like really doesn't do you any good to hyperfixate on what someone else is bringing and beat yourself up for why you don't have that experience or connection or skill. Like it just doesn't do you any good. This is all a lot easier said than done, by the way. But putting boundaries around the content you consume, and I would say not consuming content that's super similar to you or what you want to be doing, if and only if it's going to fuck with you in the head. If it inspires you, that's a whole other conversation. But if you're someone who gets easily comparative and that's something that you're like grappling with, work smarter, not harder. Okay, I love this one. Don't bring up other people in your field as if you are a fan of them. Bring them up as if they are a peer. Now, this is not me saying that when you're around your friends, you shouldn't gas them up. Like, I'm a fangirl for all of my friends. But like, if you're at like a networking event or I don't know, a conference or whatever, not that I've ever been to those, and you're talking about someone in your field who you admire, saying, oh my God, they are a genius. I absolutely adore them. Oh my God, when they said this thing, or even if you're talking to the person directly, when you said this thing, it changed my life. That energy makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. And maybe you don't know what you're doing, but we're faking it till we make it, right? So when you're talking to someone in your field that you admire, talk to them like a peer. I remember one time, this was like a 2-second interaction, but it stuck with me because I was proud of myself for acting cool, like for once in my life. I saw Delaney Rowe from TikTok at a bar in Silver Lake. And like, she is, I really do think the world of her. I think her videos are amazing. I think she's like the best to do it in her niche. But I remember catching eyes with her and just really quick going, hey, I like your videos. And she goes, thank you. And it was 2 seconds. And then I left the bar. And I felt so cool for keeping it so clean and so simple and not freaking out and just saying, hey, I like your videos. And it was heartfelt, but it wasn't, oh my God, Delaney, serious, that one video of yours, oh my God. Like it's uncalled for. And it makes you look like you are not a pro in the field that you're in. And you are, because you're at these events with these people that you admire. So talk to them as if they're your peer. Like, hey, that thing you did is really cool. Or like, hey, that was so interesting, that thing you said about XYZ. Could you tell me a little more about that? That is so chic and so sexy and such like, it just gives you this vibe of like confidence and competence and like, yeah, I have every right to be here. So do you. How fucking sick is that? Let's connect over this as peers as opposed to me putting you on a pedestal. Because when you put someone on a pedestal in like a professional environment, that does something to your brain chemistry that like makes you feel insecure. Like it fucks with you. At least it fucks with me when I fangirl over someone. So keep it cute, keep it quiet, keep it brief. Know when to end a conversation. That's not written down. That's something I'm coming up with off the cuff. Know when to end a conversation. It's so chic to like, especially if it's someone you look up to. Hey, well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night and book it. It's sexy to leave them wanting more. It's literally like dating. It's so sick, but whatever. Get ready. I mean, this could mean a million things. I mean, do your hair and makeup regularly. I'm going to say it. And some people feel gorgeous without their hair and makeup done, and love and light to you. For me, even if I'm just in a sweatshirt and leggings like I am today, the fact that my hair and makeup are done, like, made me feel more empowered to handle my day and to get behind this microphone and podcast when I was not feeling so great about myself. So get ready. It kind of goes with that idea of like dressing for the job you want, not the job you have. It's like if you're in this place of manifesting power and confidence, do yourself favors where you can. Focus on what you can control. And if you're someone who feels more confident when your hair and makeup are done or when you're in like an actual outfit, take the time to do those things. It's totally worth it because the way you move through the world is different. Unfollow or mute accounts that trigger you or make you feel behind. I kind of already touched on this, but there is nothing wrong with muting an account where it's like, hey, even if it's someone that you're like friendly with in your field, again, if you have that sort of comparative relationship to them and their content, and it might not last like that forever. It might just be that you're in like a low self-worth place that you're working through. It is completely acceptable and shame-free to mute them and just be like, love and light to them. They're on their own journey. I wish them only the best, but in this headspace that I am in right now, cannot look at that because I need to focus on what I'm doing and I need to get my groove back and I need to stay in my own lane. Okay, have a mantra. I have certain mantras that I go back to. One of my favorites is what's meant for me will never miss me, which is really hard to stick to when you're like having a low day. But like I always come back to that one because anytime something doesn't work out and anytime something historically has not worked out, I have always gotten to a point where I can look back and be like, that's why that happened that way. And I'm sure I've said that on this podcast before, but I'm so passionate about it. Have mantras like that in place so that when you are feeling low or when you're feeling uncertain, you can just kind of ground back into like, okay, what's meant for me will never miss me. Another one that I really like is I am the most confident when I keep promises to myself. So holding yourself accountable for things, whether it's a small thing like I'm going to go for a walk today, or I'm going to drink a Stanley cup of water today, or something bigger like I'm going to finish this screenplay by X month, or I'm going to have networking coffees with this many people. Even if it's something bigger, you will always feel better about yourself when you do the shit that you tell yourself you're going to do. And inversely or conversely, I don't know the difference between those words. Got to look that up later. When you don't do things you say you're going to do, that chips away at your confidence over time because it's sending this signal to yourself that you're like, who do I think I am? I can't actually do that. I'm not actually going to do that. And when you actually do follow through on things, no matter how small they are, you're sending a signal to your brain, to yourself, being like, of course I can do that bigger goal I have. I did this tinier goal. And so over time, those tinier goals add up and you feel more empowered to tackle the bigger things. I promise I'm speaking from experience. Like after I'm done recording here, I have so much shit to do. I have to like edit this podcast, get all my shit done. I'm going to go for a walk because I told myself that I wanted to today. It's gorgeous outside. And I know that sometimes you got to slow down to speed up, and the confidence and the like moving around of this weird energy that I'm feeling today by getting outside is going to make editing this podcast and like the energy behind sharing this podcast so much better for me and probably therefore for you. I know that sounds woo-woo, but it's true. Okay. If you're feeling stuck, try a class or some sort of accountability program with a friend. So that sort of like loops back to what I was just saying. But this doesn't even have to be related to your work. This could just be something fun, like some sort of I have a friend who's taking like a sewing class with their husband, which I think is so cool. Like something that's just makes you feel accomplished, fills your cup, like creatively, socially, whatever. And when you rest your gorgeous head on the pillow at night, you can be like, I did that cool thing today. I think it's a really good way of just sort of like switching things up, switching up the energy and giving yourself something healthy to put your energy into that is not directly tied to the result of your job. So it's not directly tied to like, if I do this, I'll get the promotion, or if I do this, I'll get in touch with this person that I feel like I need to get to the next level. It is something that is just tied to you getting out of the house and you having fun. And I do think a class or something that like holds you accountable, or like I said, a buddy system, is a lot easier than doing something like that by yourself, because again, you can just as easily be like, like I know I said I was gonna, I don't know, like knit or like color today, but I don't feel like it anymore. But if you like have a plan in place, like a structured plan to do that thing, you'll actually do it, and then you'll find yourself feeling better. I just know you will. Get out of the house, especially if you work from home. Shake it up. Go work at a coffee shop. Go to the library and wander around. Again, this kind of goes back to my main character energy episode, but I do think when you're working from home and you're alone at the house every day, either by yourself or with a partner or with your kid, like it can get really monotonous, and you can kind of get into like, without even noticing it until you're already in it, like get into this like low headspace of like, what the fuck is even the point? Like all the days are sort of just bleeding one into the other. And it's amazing how putting on a cute outfit and going to a new neighborhood and just like doing something new can really jolt your self-confidence, and can just remind you who the fuck you are. Remind yourself that you're a baddie and that you are in the driver's seat of your own life. No matter how shitty you're feeling right now, it will not last forever. It is always temporary, and you will feel like a baddie again. And my last tip is, remember that living is important too, and life experiences fuel everything. And we live in this fucked up capitalist bullshit society that makes us feel like we're never ever doing enough, but lived experiences are valuable. You do not have to be productive 100% of the time. Have that irresponsible girls' night out. Take the fucking nap. Think about yourself when you're 90 years old and you're covered in varicose veins and riddled with disease. I'm just kidding. None of us are going to be riddled with disease because technology is amazing, and we'll all have drank out of the Tuck Everlasting spring and hopefully not live forever, because I don't really want to, but like at least look really hot and be really healthy, like well into our hundreds. But seriously, like lived experience is just as important. Lived experience is productive. It's important. We were not put on this earth just to work. We were put on this earth to experience. So do not feel bad for like maybe making an impractical choice sometimes, and prioritizing fun and getting out there over being sensible and practical. Like, I'm serious. Lived experience will always benefit any other bigger goals you have going on, because it just the energy that you have. I'm sorry I sound so woo-woo, but the energetics that you have, that you carry with you when you are living a fun, fulfilling life, that's going to change how you show up in a meeting. That's going to change how you walk through the office. That's just going to change how you move through the world. When you feel that magnetism that comes with letting yourself enjoy and letting yourself live and letting yourself have fun, like you just attract good things all around, good friendships, good working relationships, good jobs, good experiences overall. So remember that living is important and life experiences fuel everything. Now, I wish I structured this episode differently, because I feel like that's a really high note to go out on. And I don't want to go out on a negative note, but I do have to fit my new segment into this episode, and it's called Grow Up. So, in conclusion, the two things that I think we need to grow up about this week. One, Imrul's sex life on Summer House. I think it is so fucking gross and problematic the way they were all like, it's actually like, you need to get a fucking STD check. Like, you're fucking disgusting. Like, are we, like, I didn't realize we were all like a church marm. Like, are we sex shaming each other in 2025? And moreover, would you be sex shaming Jesse Solomon or West if they did this? Or is it because Imrul is a person of color? And I did go there because it made me really uncomfortable to watch. And the fact that we know that it's deep seated for him. And so did they, because he revealed this, that he was undocumented. And this is finally a time in his life where he feels like he can live out loud and have fun. And now we're all going to sit him down and alienate him and make him feel like an asshole for that. Grow up. Grow up. And God forbid a man wants to catch a vibe and have an orgy and he uses condoms, we shouldn't give men a badge of honor for wearing condoms, but this man is practicing safe sex with lots of different partners. My hat's off to you, Imrul, and I am so sorry that you had to deal with people being fucking mean to you about having sex. God forbid a man wants to bone. Let people have sex. Chill the fuck out. Especially like on a show called Summer House that's about partying in the Hamptons. Like, grow up. Last thing that I will leave you with is people who are aggro about telling you that muffins and fun coffee drinks are just dessert for breakfast. Grow up. Whenever I see a fitness account that's like, you know how I look like this? Body check with the abs. I don't eat muffins for breakfast. I don't put cream in my coffee. That shit's just dessert. It's like, whoa. Calm down. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. If you think I'm not putting Chobani sweet cream in my coffee every day, you're crazy. The ab checking, the body checking. Muffins, it's just cupcakes for breakfast. It's just dessert for breakfast. I don't put that shit in my protein shake. It's like, oh my God, fine. But like, chill out. The sacrifices I would have to make to have like shredded abs. Like, not happening. Not around here, partner. No fucking way. I will be enjoying my life. And why? Because lived experience is important. I can't believe I've been talking for almost 43 minutes. I have no idea what I just said. I do feel as though I blacked out. If you're mad at me, don't tell me. I'm actually not in the mood. But thank you all so Thank you all so much for listening. I'm really excited for next week's episode. We have a really fun guest coming on the show, so stay tuned for that. If you don't follow me already, follow me at Hannah Aaron Brown across platforms. If you love the podcast, leave it a rating and a review. Send it to a friend. And yeah, I think that's it. I love you all so much, and I will see you soon. Bye.